Breaking the Silence is a podcast that dives into the intricate and often challenging topics of grief and loss within relationships. Through insightful discussions, the podcast aims to explore how pain can be transformed into purpose, leading to healing and growth. By addressing themes such as inner child work and the journey towards feeling alive once more, this podcast offers a beacon of hope for those navigating difficult emotions. Ultimately, Breaking the Silence aims to guide listeners towards moving forward and embracing all the blessings that life has in store as they embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual fulfillment. I'm your guide through this journey, Renee Wallace, and I invite you to join me as we break the silence surrounding grief and loss, transforming pain into purpose and finding hope in the healing power of storytelling.
Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome. I am so happy that you are here with me. And today is sort of a different day. I normally try to record ahead of time, but this one I intentionally wanted to record today. Well, actually, I planned on tomorrow, but I'm not sure about tomorrow. So I thought I would start it today because a lot of thoughts have been on my mind, and then it will air this week. So today is Monday, November 25th. And 3 years ago today was actually Thanksgiving. Dave was in the hospital with COVID, and life was crazy right then. The whole month of November was just a whirlwind. So we'll get into that more, but grab something to drink, get cozy. This is just real conversation and my heart today. So it might end up being all over the place. I have no idea, but and it might be emotional at times. But I know that there are enough people struggling with loss that I feel like I need to share this so that you know that you're not alone, that your thoughts and your feelings are normal. I see it on people's posts. I was just on Facebook yesterday, and somebody was just sharing about how heavy their heart was that day. And I knew it. Like, there's no words that you can say to make it better for people, but my heart was heavy yesterday too. So I was like, it's just really in the air right now. Of course, with holidays and stuff, it just makes things different. So let's sort of get into it. I don't know that I'm going to go completely into like everything with Dave's story. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But the end of October, we both ended up with COVID. He ended up, so, we were sick even the beginning of November. By November 5th, he was in the hospital. And by November 7th, by November 7th, he was on the ventilator. And they were telling us at that point that things didn't look good, that most people that go on the ventilator don't come off. And I was scared. And I feel like, for one, I always try to be the strong one for my kids, I think I've talked about this before. It's not that I didn't ever break down. Of course I did. And my kids have seen me cry, but I knew that I needed to be there for them. I needed to support them. And I remember walking out of the hospital. I had been at the hospital twice that day. Dave was in ICU, and I went the first time with my oldest son, and I believe my oldest daughter went that time. I don't know. Anyways, it's irrelevant. And my younger daughter. And Brady was on his way back from Marietta, so he could not meet us, when we went the first time. So then once Brady got back to town, I went a second time and went with him. So yeah, I believe my oldest daughter went the first time in the morning. We all met there. And I remember walking out and just telling Brady how scared I was. So he ended up on the ventilator and was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And it was just one of the biggest roller coasters I've been in my life, of course, with Bryant too. But such an interesting place to be of that with him in the hospital. I wanted to be there with him every moment because I knew a couple things. I didn't want him to be alone. I knew he hated doctors and he hated hospitals, and I could not stand the thought of him being there alone, but I couldn't stay all the time. I had to go home and take care of our kids too. So it was a very interesting place to be of that you're so torn in that you want to be there for that person, but you also got to take care of your family. And so those 3 weeks were just a whirlwind and a blur, really a blur. The night before Thanksgiving, or the day before, I was in the hospital that day with him, they talked to me and they pulled me out of his room and they told me all their concerns. They told me that they thought that he might not ever come off the ventilator, that if he might need a lung transplant, just all the things that they thought. And with him being sedated and on the medications for so long, that he might have dementia, he might need to be like in a facility the rest of his life, and that they wanted to meet with us in the morning to make some decisions. They basically wanted us to sign a do not resuscitate. So Thanksgiving morning, so basically 3 years ago today, this was, like I said, this was Thanksgiving. Brady and Brandon and myself went to meet with the doctors, and my brother, thankfully, he's a doctor. He got on a conference call with us and with the doctors, and after talking with them about everything and just everything we were seeing and the possibilities, we made the decision that we were not signing the DNR. We believed that Dave was still fighting. My brother felt that there was no reason to sign it yet. And I wasn't giving up on Dave. We did not feel like we were ready to say that he was done fighting. He was showing us that he was still fighting. And I wasn't willing to give up on that for him. And I also knew that I was committed to what the long haul might look like, like I knew there was a long road ahead of us and I was committed to that. So we left that meeting feeling very much, at least I did, at peace, and that we had made the right decision, that we weren't going to give up. And so this was the first point that the boys got to, other than when Dave was in ICU out in like our local hospital. This was the first time the boys had been able to actually go in and see Dave. Like they, put on all the gear and everything and actually went into his room. So the three of us were in there with them. They had a really good visit with him. As the boys were getting ready to leave, he did start having some trouble breathing. And they were repositioning him, and like his pulse dropped a ton, really low. And so, she got him situated and got him stabilized again. And the boys went ahead and left, and I told them I was going to hang around a little bit longer. I knew I needed to get home soon to get the turkey in the oven and everything and all that. I sort of had a feeling I shouldn't leave that day. Like something told me you need to stay. So I very much had this feeling that I should stay with him that day. I really thought about canceling Thanksgiving, But at the same time, again, you're like in this, there's this conflict, right? Like, here's my family that needs so much stability and normal and as much normal as can be possible when their dad is in the hospital. And at the same time, not wanting to leave Dave alone on Thanksgiving. And I do think about it now and I think, but I know he would want me to be home with the kids. He would want, I mean, as much as I know he loved me being there with him, he would want the kids to have something normal and, for them not to be home alone. Not alone, but you know what I mean. Like their mom not there, their dad not there, no Thanksgiving. So I did end up leaving and went home and fixed Thanksgiving. And we had a beautiful day, as much as it could be without having Dave there. And of course, without having Brian. We prayed for them, but it was a good Thanksgiving. There was still the whole family just together, right? And something beautiful in that. And later that night, everybody had everybody had left at that point. And it was later. I think I was getting ready to go to bed. It was probably like about 11, I feel like. It's 10:30 or 11. I think it was 11. And the nurse called me and told me that Dave had flatlined and that they had brought him back. They were actually, she said they still had like 10 people in there even working on him as we spoke because we didn't sign that DNR. And so you can imagine, like, I don't feel like I need to go into great detail of all that, or even if that I can go into that. But what we did decide to do was, if he flatlined again, to not resuscitate him. I didn't want him to go through that again because I knew, even from my brother telling me what it was like, how awful it was for them to bring you back. But that they would use medications to keep everything going so that we could get there to be with him before he passed. And so I got a hold of my big kids and woke up my kids at home, and we headed to the hospital. And I am so, so thankful that we had that time with him. And it's amazing what a change from the morning. And just how he looked. Like in the morning, I remember Dave, or like the boys and I, going in there and just saying how good he looked. Like that's where I even had so much peace in the decision that we made, because he looked so good. But then that night when we got there, his coloring was so different. Everything was so different. And I knew then, like, he wasn't coming back. And I'm so thankful that we had that time with him and that we, got to say our goodbyes and that my kids had that. But it definitely has forever changed the holidays. And that's, I think, why I want to share this, because I think that I know so many people are going through the heaviness of the holidays. And it can be, and I know this even from Bryant dying, it can be that you can experience joy and grief at the same time. I can remember the first Christmas after Bryant passed. My kids got Nerf guns for Christmas. Everybody's running around the house, shooting their guns, bullets flying everywhere. And you're just filled with so much joy of watching everybody have so much fun and be happy and all that. And yet, at the same time, your heart is breaking on the inside because you know that there should be another baby there. You have another kid that should be there opening presents. And so I want you to know that it is totally normal to feel both. And I think it is okay if you need to create new traditions, if you need to do new things. I've wrestled with this because I don't know that Thanksgiving, I'm looking at it like, maybe we need to do something different It doesn't always have to be the same. We can create new traditions. Last year, we did not have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. We had it the Saturday after. And I actually ended up having Thanksgiving with a friend last year. And that was such a beautiful gift. Like, you have no idea what that was for my heart, because it was made Thanksgiving good and happy and fun. And it was just really, really good. So it is okay to do something different. And I still am wrestling with that, even as I'm telling you that it is okay. And I'm really thinking through like what our Thanksgivings look like going forward. Because part of me, like, and that's I'm telling you it's okay, but I'm wrestling with it too of like, but will my kids be disappointed if we don't have this big Thanksgiving dinner and we don't do all the normal traditional things? So I guess I would encourage you there to just sit down and talk with them. And that's actually what I should do with my kids, right? Like, hey, where are we at with this? Like, what do we think about doing something totally different? Again, this year, it will be different. I mean, we won't be doing Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving this year. So it's okay to create new traditions. And like I said, I'm reminding you of this as much as I'm reminding myself of that, and to look at things and say they can be new and different. And the other thing I would want to remind you of is, and I touched on this with the whole Christmas thing in Bryant, it is okay to feel joy and grief. I don't think we should ever feel guilty for being happy, for experiencing all the beauty right here on earth. Because we have joy or happiness or experience the beauty here that God created for us to enjoy on earth, does not mean that we don't still grieve what's gone, grieve what was. I don't believe we should feel guilty about it. I believe we can feel both and honor both. Like, we can honor moving forward and living this beautiful life we do have, and still hold space for what was and the people that we care about and love, but that is no more, right? Not until we're in heaven. And so I just would encourage you to honor that. I was on a live last night, and she was talking about her dad dying, and that she felt really guilty for moments when she would feel joy and all that. And so I just want to encourage you with that. And she said she wished someone would have told her that, like, that it's okay to have joy, to experience joy again. The people that love us, that have gone before us, would never want us to sit and be stuck in a place of just grieving over them and not living life and not enjoying everything. I think sometimes people get caught in that place, and that is a very sad place to be, I think, because I've seen this happen actually with when Dave's mom passed, and his stepdad just sort of quit living, basically. Like, and so he quit going to all the kids' games and Christmas, everything. Like, he literally quit going to all the stuff because it reminded him of Linda, and it made him sad. But the sad part of it is that not only did my kids lose their grandma, and not just my kids, but of course I can think of it in that way, but they lost their grandpa too, coming to all the sporting events and all the different things, and Christmas and Thanksgiving and all this stuff. And I don't believe for a minute that Linda would have ever wanted that. She would have wanted him to show up and be there for the grandkids and for the kids. And so I would just encourage you to honor both, that you can experience everything here and move forward and still Yes, and still grieve that. There will always be that place in my heart, always, no matter what, that there is a piece of me missing, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't experience life again, experience love again, and just live in the present and live fully. My friend Michael, I'm so happy. 2 years ago, she passed. And I just seen yesterday that her husband I seen a few months ago that he was dating again. And now he's engaged. And I am so thrilled for that. It's like, because Michael would want that too. She would never want him to stop living. She would want him to love again. She would want every good thing for him. That is when you love somebody, you want the best for them, right? You don't want them sitting around like just grieving the past. So I don't know if this is helpful. I hope it is. I pray it is. I know things can be different, and sometimes we're not really sure what to do with the different. But I would encourage you to create new traditions if you need to. Whatever that is, I would encourage you to still look around and think about and remember all the things that you're so grateful for. Start making a list if you need to. I talked about this I feel like, it was at my birthday, when it is so easy when you're caught up in the grief of the moment to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm still in this place, which is so not true. And I said that then. It's so important, I think, to remind ourselves of the things that we are grateful for. When it can feel dark and yucky, the things we are grateful for. Like, I'm so thankful that I have my home, that I have been able to provide for my family now for 3 years. And that is something even in itself that when Dave died, I was thinking, how am I ever going to do this by myself? I've got 4 kids to finish raising. And although I know God is faithful, you still are very much in the human part of yourself, the flesh part of yourself. Like, how am I going to do this? How are we ever going to make it? I had one still in college. How am I going to get him through college? How am I going to take care of the 4 at home, show up for my kids, my grown kids too? Everybody was looking to me, right? To lead them, to show them how we walk through this grief journey. Like, literally, and I was like, I'm trying to grieve myself and I want to crumble right now, and just looking back at that and thinking, number one, God was so faithful, and he truly is the rock, right? That I could stand on. And when I thought, and people would say, you're so strong. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a total mess all the time. But it was God's strength and that was getting me through. And the prayers of all of you, like, I have been reading through, the memories of all that time with Dave, and even the day he passed, and so many people just commenting that they were praying. And I just couldn't help but sit there and just feel all that emotion again and know that those prayers are what have carried us through the past 3 years. So I say all that to say, take the time to reflect on and be thankful for all that you have. I'm so, the families that we have so many blessings all around us, like our kids, our grandkids, our homes. I just look at all that in awe of, like, thank you, Lord. Thank you that you've gotten us through 3 years when I had no idea how it would happen. We're still in the journey. We're not done. I still have kids to finish raising, but here I am. I had, Brady graduated college. Bryson graduated high school last year. I got another one that's a senior this year. And I'm like, we're doing it. We are doing it. We are getting through it. So I just encourage you so much. I know it can be so hard sometimes. I know it can feel so overwhelming, but you're doing it. And one step at a time, allow yourself to feel it all. Allow the tears to flow. Be so thankful for everything you have. Even in the midst of loss, we have so much to be thankful for. If nothing else, if you know Jesus as your Savior, you know that this is not the end of the story. And that is what we can cling to, because we know it doesn't end here. So I hope that you have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Actually, I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know that I said this in the beginning when we talked about everything with Dave. So we went into the hospital. Yeah, I did. Talked to the doctors that morning, came back that night. He actually passed on the 26th. So by the time they turned off the machines for the medicine and everything, and I'm not going to go into more detail of that, not now. Maybe I'll tell all of it, but I think you guys get the gist of it. It was the 26th, so tomorrow will actually mark 3 years. And so this week will be different. I mean, of course it is. There's feelings there. I'm human, and I feel what it was like 3 years ago. But there's beauty even in now, and I'm trying to remind myself of that even as I'm, so sad. So I hope that you have a beautiful Thanksgiving with your family. Whatever that looks like, hold space for yourself. If you do have the get together and it gets to be too much and you need to walk away and go in the bathroom for a little bit and just cry over what was or what isn't, that is okay. You can do that. I remember doing that on Christmas Day after Bryant passed. I just had to, again, the whole joy of watching all my kids have so much fun. But then I also had to go into the bathroom and just cry for what I was missing. And it can be both. I send you off with so much love. I'm praying for you. For those of you that your hearts are maybe heavy right now, know that I'm praying you through. And I will talk with you soon.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking the Silence. As we conclude our time together, let us carry forward the stories we've heard, the emotions we've shared, and the connections we've forged. Remember, the journey through grief and loss is not one we walk alone. In the silence, we find solidarity. In our shared experiences, we find strength. And in our vulnerability, we find resilience. If you or someone you know is navigating the complexities of grief, know that there is support available. Reach out, lean on your community, and remember that healing is not linear. It's a journey, and you are not alone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of this community. Until next time, may you find peace in the spaces between the silence. Please be sure to subscribe below and leave us a review. If you'd like to connect further, you can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Renee.